Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time once again for some more of Steve Jackson's Sorcery. Now, we find ourselves here before the window once again. And we know that Flanker, the assassin, is likely to come up behind us and call us to face him. Now, got a few thoughts. With the use of the Far spell, we have seen that he was controlled by the Archmage with the Crown of Kings and is no longer his own man. He was hired to come here. We've met him numerous times along the journey, and I suspect he's been hired by the Archmage to kill us. However, the fact that he's now been dominated by the Archmage means the Archmage wanted to do it for free? Or wanted to be certain he would not fail, would not turn against him. Now, to the very best of my knowledge, in the original book series, we didn't see him beyond book 2. I don't think we saw him in book 3 or in book 4. So this is new, right? This is adding in more stuff, as he did seem to be shadowing our journey. If I knew the 4 spells to break the Crown of Command, I might be able to use them to break its hold over him. But I don't think I can necessarily do that. So I suspect I'll have to fight him. In future, when I've navigated this portion of the tower, I'll be able to go back in time and have the birdmen fly me straight to the Archmage if I believe I have all the things I require to handle him. For now, though, I'm going to have to face Flanker, a skilled opponent, and I haven't faced him in combat since book 1. That being said, a lot of opponents seem to follow a pattern of defending for a large number of rounds while they build up for a big attack. And if I can work out where the big attack is coming from, I can defend as well and overpower them when it comes. Also, other thoughts. He waited for me to approach the window before speaking. I strongly suspect that if I had not approached the stained glass window of the mosaic of a coiled lizard, not a chameleon maybe? Perhaps a serpent. I don't think I have the sun serpent in a ball anymore, which is probably wise. Would not have been good to bring it with me. I suspect if I hadn't... Right, so... It's possible he is an illusion created by this window, but it's much more likely it's just Flanker. You know, the mundane... While sorcery is a major feature of this adventure, the mundane solution is sometimes the simplest. And... let's turn and face him. You turn around and meet a pair of quick, intelligent eyes that do not smile. You stare as a shadow before you moves, becoming a man. It is Flanker. Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! My friend, I knew I would find you here. Flanker lowers his head a moment, then lifts it once more. I feared it, but I did not know for certain. There is something terrible in his tone. Help me. I am an assassin, he replies. Flanker stares at you with those dead eyes that have seen so much death. It is my air, my breath. I must do as I must do, as we all must do. Help me kill the Archmage. Yeah, it's not like I can outbid him. You appeal. Help me end all of this. He shakes his head. When we met, I knew my destination, but not my target. Had I known, I would have killed you sooner, Analand. I recall that I bested you. If I had known I was to kill you, I would have stabbed you in the back the moment you walked away from me, Flanker replies coldly. Better to have done it then, before the hardships you have endured to reach this place, than to cut you down so close to your goal. I'll not reach for his arm. To claim he cannot beat me, that's a very bold claim, and one I probably should not make. But if I can talk him out of this, I should try. You cannot defeat me. You tell him, you know it. Only one of us will walk away from this spot, he answers. I have killed 100 men and 100 women in my time, and I have studied your style in our long journey together. Well, good luck with that, I'm fucking clueless. My style is the unpredictable idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. So be it. You draw your sword from the scabbard. Flanker nods as he recognizes the curved assassin's blade. You advance on him, assassin's sword pointed forward. Flanker paces to meet you. Let us finish this then. His blade leaves its scabbard in a curved movement. I must try and cast a spell. The spell that understands languages. Yes. Okay, the window might affect spell casting. Nap. I could just put him to sleep. But I'd need to spend time swinging the pendulum, and he is swift. Sharpen my sword. Needs beeswax that I do not have. Talk rap. Yes! That is the one that seems to counter some kind of spell of mind control. Got rock. Shouldn't turn into stone. Walk. Don't have a coin. Mud. Counters foe. Foff. Right, force field. Dim. Oh. Dim may work. But he'll probably remember he needs to kill me. I want to get really creative. Okay, no. Where is it? It's not Yaz. Oh, but I think it's Yap or... No. Wait. No, it is, isn't it? It's, yeah. Didn't work. Grabbing the wig from your pack, you pull it on your head and weave your spell, but it seems as though there is no one to talk to, so the spell has no effect beyond the wig warming your skull. Flanker gives you no more chances. Okay. If I go about if I defend... Oh, he went for a weak strike. Flanker nods at you, raises his curved sword in salute, and then takes his position. You drop into a defensive crouch immediately. Flanker means to kill you, regardless of all that you've been through together. Flanker turns his curved sword about, but his attack lands on your defense. Closing his eyes, he murmurs a quick prayer as he sets his stance. So, calming himself, control, focus. I think he might be defending. I'll try about a 3. 3.2. Oh, he went in big. Okay. I always knew it would end this way, Flanker remarks. In the next moment he is on you in a flash. With your blade close, you are ready to parry. His own swing is devastatingly placed. The impact of his blow is deep and flings you reeling across the earth. He twists the blade about before pulling it free. This is your end. May your spirit rest with Sindler, Flanker tells you in a voice as cold as... Cold. I've been keeping him quite warm. May your spirit rest with Sindler, Flanker tells you in a voice as cold as the waters of the Chajabi River. You will not keep me from it. He's going to now be defending for the next 2 or 3 rounds. I could make a few weak attacks, because he went in really heavy here. Oh. The assassin's jab is quick and vicious, and he steps inside from your own swing. He spins his sword about to shift the sword across his body. Now he's defending. I will defend. Oh, wow. He's got enough skill that he can constantly attack. You drop yourself into a crouch. His light blow sails over your head, moving with the deadly speed of an attacking serpent. You're mostly unharmed. Flanker laughs appreciatively. He swivels his grip. The weapon sings as it moves. If I go about a... yeah, sure. And he bloody defended, I think. No, he didn't defend. There is nothing else for it. You have to risk an attack. You rush forward with a deep, heavy slash, but the blow you land is only minor because Flanker has shifted his feet. You knock Flanker staggering against the wall. You bested me once, he declares. It will not happen again. I have travelled far. I will ensure your corpse is honoured, Flanker informs you. Well, on that note, I can't really afford to go in heavy here. I'm going to have to defend. Glad I did. You whip up your assassin's blade as he tries a deep slice, but you roll out of the way, mostly unhurt. He nods at you wisely. Breathing deeply, Flanker whispers a mantra as he readies his blade. I think he's coming in for a big attack. I will defend once more. I'm so glad that I did, because I couldn't have matched his power there. You hold firm and keep up your defence as he powers forwards, only tiring himself out. You are mostly unharmed. He's tiring himself out. Clue there, I think. You stumble backwards, all but toppling down the stairs. You are weakening. Flanker flicks the blade through the air, crouching as he moves. I think he's defending, but I'll go like a 6.9. Yeah, he defended. Bugger. Acting quickly, you swing your perfect sword fast in towards his chest, but his own move is fast and careful and he is able to parry. I can guarantee you a holy death, Flanker tells you, his tone like the water of Lake Ilklala, deep and cold. Big threat, but also calm and assured. I think if I'd made him stupid, I might be able to talk to him more. If I'd gone invisible, I might have been able to walk away from this fight. If I go in hard, I think I have to. I think he's coming in hard too. Oh, he did, but not enough. The stones echo with the sounds of combat. Relentlessly you cut and thrust, keeping him pinned. You swing a masterful swipe, outclassing his own sword swing. Blood drips from the assassin's tunic. He curses under his breath. Damn it. Flanker raises the sword above his head, crouching as he moves. Yeah, I'm going to totally defend and regain attack power. Glad that I did. You ready yourself to block. His attack whizzes past you on your left side. You're mostly unhurt. He raises one hand to draw a finger in a line across his throat. The Archmage will be mostly satisfied when you breathe your last, Flanker informs you. His eyes are without humour. I need to go in all in here. Oh, big mistake! You should have killed me when you had the chance, Flanker murmurs. Then he is diving forward for your throat. Your own stroke is overpowered. His own blow is measured, but enough to knock you reeling. You're almost empty of strength. It cannot end like this. Flanker turns his sword about, crouching as he moves. I've got to do this. Leaping into action, you slash violently across his chest. Flanker is gasping, moving slowly. The blade sinks deep. He tumbles, releasing his sword as he topples. You have finished me, Analand, he groans. I am glad it was... He doesn't even get to finish the sentence. Flanker still has some breath left in him. He gestures for you to kneel, wanting to whisper something more. He's already told me he'll kill me now that I'm the target. He'll kill me if he has a chance, but let's try. Right, let's see what happens. It is right it should end so, he wheezes. By your hand. You should never have spared me in the hills. I would spare you now if you let me. I would spare you now if you allow it, you whisper, voice breaking. I do not allow it, he murmurs in reply, and with that, the light in his eyes fades and goes out. I think there probably is a way that I can save him. And not just by bypassing this entire tower and getting to the top without meeting him. I think I should test this theory. I've been told that just here is a rewind point. I do not see the rewind point. I do not see it. So, on we go. Yeah, I'm not trying to rewind, I'm just trying to get to the now. I'll leave him. You get to your feet and leave him dead on the stones. You head along the landing, your heart heavy with grief. But I'll say a prayer to Khare. Khare is sitting back, contentedly asleep and unwilling to aid you now. Quite understandable. I'll pass by this window, which I cannot look through, to this doorway, which is sealed tight shut. There is an archway here, but it contains a recessed stone wall, as if someone has bricked over a doorway. Curious. If I tap it, someone might hear me. If I push it, that's quiet. You push on the wall, but it does not budge. Your hands, however, begin to tingle. Now back away. There's something strange about the wall. You step back and once more to consider it. Tingling. Tingling. It's not a wall. It's that monster, isn't it? Eucalyptics. I'm sensing eucalyptic here or something like that. I'll kick it. You kick the wall and are rewarded with a shock. The wall zapped you with some kind of spell. What is it protecting? I'm gonna have to turn back. You turn away from the wall in some frustration, but there is no other way forwards. Surely you cannot simply turn back here, so close to your goal. I seriously can. You turn away. You are defeated. After so long and so far to be defeated by a simple brick wall. Just then, a wisp of wind tickles the back of your neck. You turn around. Where has the draft come from? Through a solid brick wall? How is that possible? I'll close my eyes. You close your eyes and feel the draft across your face. It is coming from directly ahead. I will feel forwards. You feel forwards and for a moment sense nothing. Where is the wall? Then you find it, a little closer to you than you had thought. Wait, the solid wall is closer to you than your reaching fingers had assumed? Run forwards or run. Look, they've been pushing this a lot. I'm going to have to go for it. You try to run, but cannot bring yourself to do it. You are running at solid stone. I must run! Steadying yourself, you breathe deeply, set your stance, then run headlong. A moment later, you open your eyes on the other side of the illusion. What about the damage I took? The electric shock. You walk inside to discover a large library. Bookshelves line the walls, and more books are stacked on the desk in the corner. You pull a book at random to check the title. 12 Methods of Summoning. Taking a few more, you see that every book concerns magic. You have found the Archmage's personal collection. This may not be the safest place to sleep, but pretty sure this is a good place to cast the Far spell. A long, long way to run. I should probably cast magic protection as well, but let's see. What do I get? You sit cross-legged on the ground and put your palms on the orb. You bind the stars into a pattern around you and everything changes. You see yourself reaching for a book and staring at it from this angle and that, as though it was a book that had not been written on a flat plane. Then you look up, walk across the room, and disappear through a wall that in the orb you cannot see, through a door that in the orb you cannot see. The vision fades. The library is dead silent and dusty. Clearly no servants come here. This place is for the Archmage alone. I will look around the room. You have never seen so many books in one place. A whole libraries of spellbooks containing each variant, every minute detail of the art of spellcasting. The Archmage's power must be truly vast with access to so much knowledge, and I must find out how to counteract the crown. But first, other spells. Wait! I must not cast any spell with a stamina cost. How? Also, yeah, all of the utility spells that don't need... Wait. Jig. Counters dumb. Liking this idea. You craft the spell, pulling out your bamboo flute and starting to play. But with no one else around to enchant, you feel the spell taking hold on you, forcing you to dance until you lower the flute. Still, you feel somewhat better for the exercise. And I've proved there wasn't a dumb spell to counter. Dumb is clumsy. I want to counter dim, don't I? I wonder if I can keep casting that. Oh! Interesting. That feels like an exploit. Okay, let's see. This feels very wise. Reaching up to the stars, you create the magic, and a veil of magical protection shimmers into place around you. You are now protected from any magical traps the Archmage may have left in his library. Now, I will sleep here. It seems odd to sleep so close to your destination, but to meet the Archmage tired and weak would be unwise. Removing your pack, you try to settle, despite the uncomfortable floor. You have not yet eaten today, but you have no provisions, only a single vial of blimberry juice. I will not drink that. How badly will this go? Is this a trap? You lie back and try to forget your troubles. Or is this a final respite? The long night is filled with vivid dreams. You walk around and around in coiling pathways, following staircases that lift up and down between the shifting, moving levels of a clockwork tower. There seems to be no top and no bottom to this place. You walk endlessly. Mocking laughter seems to ring in your ears. The Archmage is still waiting for me. Flanker, I sense we may meet again. Hang on! Why wasn't I allowed to cast a res spell on him? You wake. Sunlight streams in through the window. I shall pray. So prayer is completely blocked in here. You go over to the shelves and run your fingers along the titles. The Perception of Perception, Artifacts of Teleportation, Magical Prisons. I will read of magical prisons. You open the book. The first few pages are dry, narrated in a low, soft voice. Eventually, the voice stops reading. Who are you? It demands. You're not the Archmage. Who are you? You are inside this book? Surely that's obvious, replies the book. And there is only one way you end up in a book. I don't ask. I'll end up in it too. Then you are cursed. After a fashion, I'll close the book. You snap the book shut and the voice vanishes. I'm putting that book back. Wait, I can take it with me? Trap someone else in it? Read Artifacts of Teleportation. You pull Artifacts of Teleportation from the shelf. The writing is crabbed and dense, and you have to lean over the tome to make sense of it. The author writes that spells of teleportation can be attuned to mundane objects. Unlike most spells, the text reads, certain kinds of teleportation do not need a Grimalkin to function. Flicking further through the book, you discover that some writing has appeared on the page. It now reads, teleportation requires the rotation of elements of reality in separation from other elements of reality. The pivot for such a movement must be a fixed astral point. The sky above this tower. At the same time, you notice your pack feels lighter. 3 new books have also appeared on the shelf. Pack feels lighter. You look in your pack and find that the orb of crystal has gone missing. That's not good. You pull out the volume entitled The History of the Underground Realms, which was not there originally but appeared shortly after. It is a long and complex treatise on what you slowly realise is in fact now the sewage system used by the Citadel. It appears it was once a thriving dwarven stronghold, but has been long since abandoned to its fate. You put the book back on the shelf. You look over the spines that have appeared on the shelf. The 18 Uses of Spiderfish, a treatise on astrological shift, and on the heat of magical combustion. None seem particularly important. Bollocks. We were literally talking about a fixed astral position. You grab a treatise on astrological shift and flick through it, discovering only a dry explanation of the heavens moving. However, the orb slides out from between the covers. How it fits inside is unclear. The other book literally told me this was the place to look, so I believe I've got my crystal ball back. Yes, it's fair. I don't want to catch fire. Spiderfish sounds poisonous. Fine. You lift down the perception book and open it to find the contents are a single elaborate diagram. As your eye traces its lines and its outline, you find yourself becoming acutely aware of hidden meanings and references within the art. It's like an M.C. Escher painting. It is as though the book is teaching you how to see what is hidden. I'll keep studying it for now. You continue to follow the diagram and become acutely aware of your own heartbeat. Oh, is it possible to become too hyper-aware? You follow the diagram onwards and start to notice the little hairs inside your nose. You continue to trace out the lines in the image and begin to hear faint creaks from the stones in the tower leaning in the wind. I need to know more. You follow the diagram further and become aware of the sound of someone writing upstairs. You continue to follow the diagram and become aware of the rivers moving through the rock underneath the citadel itself. I sense it's possible to go too far here, but I also sense I haven't quite found enough to find that secret door yet. You follow the diagram onwards and are starting to feel quite dizzy. Yes, massive sensory overload. Let's stop. When you look up from a book, you are startled to see you are looking at another door across the room which you had not seen before. Then I shall pass through it. You have browsed enough books. There will be time to read later. Onwards then. You pass out of the library to the steps beyond. I don't think I have enough. I think the dock spell might require a stamina point, and I think I've only got the one Blimberry potion. He says, quickly going to check. Oh, it's not even listed on this one. Okay, I'll go look at the other one then. The other list, as it were. Yeah, just for one. You climb another winding step of stairs up to the next level of the tower. You are high now. The wind outside is roaring past, shivering the glass in the windows. Stay a while and rest. You are feeling weak, so you stop to rest and meditate. Your veil of magical protection shimmers out of existence. Didn't protect me from having my crystal ball stolen, though. Eventually you get back to your feet once more, somewhat refreshed, and prayer is still blocked. Have I contentedly asleep and unwilling to contentedly asleep? I'm going to hope I haven't done anything to displease him. The corridor winds around the tower until it reaches a small wooden door. Another window casts a dim light across the floor. This is the top of the highest tower in Xamon. This is the garret of the Archmage himself. You are mere footsteps from your goal. Why a capital G for garret? A garret is a small room at the top of a building, like a small attic compartment. I'll look out of the window. Looking out of the window, you see a dizzying drop down to the citadel below. I think I have to cast some spells. Oh, this is so dumb. Surely. You sit cross-legged on the ground and put your arms on the orb of crystal. You wind the constellations into alignment around you and everything changes. You see yourself sitting in a small turret room with a man wearing a crown of jewels and bone. You are sipping wine together and talking like old friends. The visions fade. From somewhere below there comes the echo of screams. That's bad. One more spell. You cast the enchantment and a veil of magical protection shimmers into place around you. But can such a shield protect you from the power of the Archmage himself? Probably not, but hopefully partially. Besides, there's a door. You take a deep breath and ready yourself. Then you reach out and try the handle of the door. It turns. The door is not enchanted nor cursed. It is not even locked. Of course, it's a welcoming invitation into a trap. After so many miles, so much hardship and pain, the final door is well weighted and requires nothing more than the gentlest of pushes to swing open. "Come into my parlour," said the spider to the fly. This is a disaster waiting to happen. You climb the stairs to the garret. It is a tiny stone room, the walls plastered with astrological charts, some ancient and some so fresh that their ink still gleams. And in the centre of the space is a desk, and sitting behind it... Dun 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 dun! There he is. Behind the desk is a wizened old man with long shocks of black hair. He's holding a quill pen and looks up curiously as you enter. Yes? Can I help you? Is this where he casts a spell and sends me back to the beginning? Like puts me in a prison, the only way to get out of it is to cast the Z spell and go back to the beginning. Since that's been reworked heavily and the Z spell has been heavily incorporated into this adaptation of the book, I'm not sure that's how things are going to go here. The death threat isn't the way to go here. I am the Analander, the one you fear. What if his fear of the Analander isn't fear? He's not afraid of me at all. He's merely been making everyone else afraid of me and hate me, so that he has defences and protection against me. I have come for the crown. The man frowns with evident puzzlement, then he seems to understand. You must be the Analander. The Analand himself. As an annulment of land destroying land with the time machine towers. I do hope you didn't think that disguise would fool me. Please take it off. Welcome. I think. Well, it's going to serve me little now. But to obey his command... No, this is an act of bravery. I'll show myself. You remove the monk's habit, and the Archmage nods. I knew you would come, of course. Wait, he has a deep voice, deep mocking laughter, doesn't he? I knew you would come, of course, he says, though I had to at least try to stop you. Prophecy is like that, highly circular. The man looks back at you sadly, silent for a moment. Doubt begins to creep into your heart. Can this truly be the cruel Archmage of High Examine? He seems tired, even shy. I see you have travelled a long way, he remarks. You must be tired. Please, sit. We may talk as equals for a moment. He gestures to a chair. Your veil of magical protection shimmers out of existence. I was shown me sitting, which led to screaming from below, which was not part of the vision. Who is screaming below and why? What's going on? This is a trap. The walls are coated with Minimite blood. No magic can function here. In that case, how is he siphoning life energy and time travel energy from the tower down in the valley below to keep himself young? Well, to prevent himself dying of old age. You are quite safe. Try it if you do not believe me. Reaching across his desk, he lifts the stopper on a decanter and pours out a glass of thick red wine. I know better than to offer you one, he remarks as he sips his own. So, where is it? you demand, unwilling to be swayed from your task. The crown of kings, he gestures at his head. I'm not wearing it, as you can see. I will sit as the vision foretold. You lower yourself into the seat opposite him, waiting for him to continue. The Archmage nods. He seems to be chewing something over. Do you know, Analander, what it is the crown does? Do you understand its power? The crown controls the will of others. I'm not going to remind him of his impending mortality. I'm not going to be arrogant enough to say I don't need to understand it. I'm just here to get it. Precisely. But perhaps you do not quite understand the depth of that. The crown is a grimalkin. It is set with jewels of gold and lined with a ring of bone, and covers the wearer's skull in cloth. It generates spells of both illusion, worship, and mental insight. Yes, he's literally told me which spells need to be countered. That's got to be a clue, right? The bone ring is the illusion. The jewel of gold is worship. Mental insights, yes, because it's a wig, right? It is more powerful than a mere grimalkin. It is powerful indeed. The Archmage puts down his wine glass. Understand this. The crown does not command. No, the wearer commands. The crown causes the wearer's desires to become the unthinking thoughts, reflex actions, and spontaneous whims of those around. It occupies the free will itself. You're stalling for time, you declare, but it will not sway me. No, I fear I will not sway you from your task, the Archmage replies thoughtfully. You have come a long way for this crown. I see that. You think me evil, a tyrant, but I must explain this to you. I am none of these things. I am the Archmage of the Fortress of Sorcerers, a fading but noble institution. And I spend my days trying to repair the terrible destruction wrought on the lands in my care by your ignorant, reckless use of the beacons of past light. You placed those beacons there yourself. I did, and left untouched, they would have protected the land for 10,000 years. Did you not notice the towers were all sealed? Past light burns with the power of the sun. It must be filtered, measured, but you opened 6 beacons wide and threw them over my land, over my people. He bangs the desk as he speaks, almost shouting. There is a tear in his eye. I didn't know. I did not know. There was no other way. I am sorry for it. Right. Pride. Innocence. This he can try to make me feel guilty. I did not know. And you did not stop to think! His voice, his cracked voice, quivers with rage. The fate of the world is at stake. I'm not gonna... It was set up in such a way that I almost had to use them all. And not doing so would have made... Well, the Time Serpent could have just been ignored. But yeah, he would have been fully warned by all the serpents by the time I got here. That would have been very challenging. The fate of the world is at stake. Look, he's going to make out that I can't take the crown back to the King of Analand because I don't know what the King of Analand would do. But the point is that it's the King of Analand's turn. He will be responsible and give it to the next people. It's the alliance of all these people. You know, it's like each of them only has the crown for a certain period of time. And that's interesting that they've all relinquished it willingly when it is their turn. So wearing the crown, seeing the power they hold over people and controlling people, must grant the wearer some kind of wisdom and insight over time where they realize, I should not abuse this power. I should relinquish it to someone else. Yes, the fate of the world is at stake. Is it? Because I have this crown, Analander? I do not have the crown, and I never did. He's lying. Well, look him in the eyes. You stare at him. He gives every appearance of honesty. Then where is it? You demand. I am so sorry. I know how hard it will be to accept what has been done to you, but can you not, on some level, feel it? Do you not sense that you are not in control of yourself? Is he going to say that the King of Analand had the crown the entire time and has controlled me to come here and kill him? What are you talking about? You have been under the spell for some time. I can imagine how it began. Most likely there was a day in Analand, perhaps near the wall, when you woke up and your will was not your own, and since then you have been compelled to march here, to do me harm. I thought he'd say this. It is my mission. So you say, and yet consider this. Do you even know what this crown looks like? This object that you have travelled so far, so single-mindedly to find? It might have been lying on a table in the first village you passed through, and you would not have known. Am I correct? I'm going to have to step away for a bit, but I'll be back to this as soon as I can. So here we are, 2 nights later, and I finally get to record again. Before continuing, I'd like to voice a suspicion here. Right? The Archmage has attempted to convince me that the Crown of Command operates on free spells yeah, so like God, Tell, and what's the illusion one called? I can't remember. But yeah, there's spells of illusion, worship, and mental, yeah, and mind reading. And the obvious implication is that those free spells can be counterspelled. However, we were informed fairly reliably earlier on in this book that there are 4 spells that make the crown work. And I can't remember who told us that, if it was the Goddess Libra herself or someone else. However, my point being, the Archmage has attempted to persuade me that these 3 spells combined power the crown, and that the crown has been used upon me and I am under its control, and that is the reason why I have been pursuing this mission. The obvious implication is that he is going to persuade me to attempt to counter the spells on myself. Obviously, this would be very bad, because if the spells are not on myself, then the counter spells would have very bad effects, like turning me into stone and stuff. Tell counters Yaz. Wait a minute. Yaz is the invisibility spell. Got it. So I would become invisible. It's possible rap or yap, maybe the fourth one. Understand animals. Understand languages. Was it rap instead of tell? Huh. I don't think it was. So, invisible. God counters nap. So I'd be invisible and asleep. Right. And yes, God. What does God counter? I think I found this one, but it wasn't revealed. As in, found it by fluke. Right, let's try again. Looking for the picture with the jewel being held up and a ray coming out of it, I think. Counters nap. So yeah, invisible. Wait. So asleep. Yaz counters tell. Asleep, invisible. Ah, right, yeah. Where is the illusion spell? So you have a Y spell, isn't it? Was it kid? To trick him. Just kidding. Kidding you, mate. Come on. Am I missing spells from the spellbook? Wouldn't be Yob. Right. Okay, we're back at the front. Right, so. Huh. Now, dim would make sense as the fourth spell, but I'm getting back round to this because obviously I'm going to say later on that, or I might as well just say it now. The best lie contains a grain of truth, but why would he tell me the truth about this? Oh, it is kid. Counters dim. So I would be invisible, asleep, and stupid. For attempting to counter any of these spells. Additionally, he has tried to persuade me that I cannot cast spells in this room. Obviously, what he will do is extricate himself from the situation, possibly being carried away by birdmen. So obviously I'm viewing this whole situation as a trap. Additionally, I cannot pray in this location. Oh! I can pray. I probably should. I'm in pretty bad shape. But I might really need it. So you say, and yet consider this. Do you even know what this crown looks like? This object that you have travelled so far, so single-mindedly to find? It might have been lying on a table in the first village you passed through and you would not have known. Am I correct? I mean, I imagine I'd detect a lot of magical power from... It is my purpose. That's bordering on narrow-minded. It is the crown of kings, yes, obviously, but does everyone know what that looks like? What do you mean? That's leading into his trap. If I do this, he'll be like, you're a bully, you're narrow-minded, you're trying to brute force your way through everything, you're just the kind of villain I've been painting you out to be. What do you mean? My good man, you have seen the crown already. You have stood in its presence, but you do not remember. Perhaps you think it was just a dream. Such is its power, but what else but the crown could have sent you on such a journey as this, at such terrible cost? You know nothing of me. Given that the time travel stuff in Book 3 happened, so he's literally had like thousands of years of history, or hundreds of years of history, of the things I've done in that region to get here. This is probably a bad claim to make. I have dreamt of it, yes. And he'll be like, yes, because you've seen it, and it put the pictures in your mind. I mean, he's essentially claiming I'm a political assassin come here to wipe him out as opposition. Because he's like, why should they have the power and all the control just because it's their turn? I should be independent, and they should... Yeah. never seen it. The Archmage's voice softens. Another question, then. You say you are called the Analander, correct? Your people call me the Analander because I am from Analand. A name around which you have built up a reputation in the years prior to my journey here, before even my birth. And what does this mean to you? He smiles. My friend, are you truly so far gone that you do not even know your own name? I told my name to a child in Book 3, and she said, that's a funny sounding name. We don't have names like that over here. I did not explicitly say I am the Analander. Although it just said you tell her your name, so it literally could be what I told her. His words echo around the tiny room. Paper charts flutter. Your memories of Analand, the king, and the childhood in Chorbury Wood all seem suddenly distant, like vague mentions, half-remembered overheard stories, mere snippets. He's trying to make me... Yeah, but what if he was lying about the Mennonite blood on the walls, right? This feels like a magical trap. If the crown is so powerful, how could my birdmen have stolen it from your kingdom? Continues the Archmage gently now. Think, Analander. Think for yourself just for once before you strike me down. I'm going to fight this. If I try and remember, I could be remembering the memories he's feeding me. Call him a liar. Obviously, it's the strong statement to make, but it feels weak as well. I will fight this. You shake yourself, trying to lose the words of the Archmage, which are settling into your mind with 1,000 tiny hooks. How did this quest begin? Waking in the hut in the northern settlement sword, ready, dreaming of the crown? No, my sword wasn't ready. I had to go pick it up. Where were you before that moment? Where did you come to be on this quest for which you have given so much? I need to think like Puddleglum the Marshwiggle in The Silver Chair. Oh, I know there's a film coming out of the 6th Chronicles of Narnia book, even though it's technically the 5th, because the first book was written 6th rather than 1st, as a sort of prequel. There's chronological order and publishing order. Right. So, When Mulagutaram the witch is using magic to enchant the children and Prince Caspian himself, and telling them of this beautiful, better life she wants to create and she wants them all to live in. Puddleglum the Marshwiggle is this miserable, moody creature who lives in the marsh, who's been their guide on the journey. And he's been moody and depressed and miserable and puts a right downer on everything. And when this witch is burning the incense, and which makes them susceptible and believing what she says, and she's like, oh, all these beautiful, wonderful things. And Puddleglum just kind of shakes himself out of it and says, actually, you know what? I like being miserable, and I don't like this constant promises of happiness and stuff you got, because feeling a bit down sometimes helps you appreciate the good things in life, and I don't believe any of this stuff you're saying. And he goes and he kicks over the incense stand with his big foot, and then they all sort of break out of it. So how do I do? Standing up, I'm likely to find myself unable to stand. Calling him a liar, if I say I remember everything, he'd be like, do you really though? This, calling him a liar, has been a repeated option. Using the far spell, I saw myself sitting down, did not see myself participating in, partaking of the drink he offered, but I didn't get to see the outcome. The implication being I should remain sitting. This will be an interesting one to take, right? I remember everything, you declare stubbornly. Answer me this. How many sisters do you have? What colour are your mother's eyes? How old are you? You shouldn't need to think to answer. But if you are right... Yeah, I will try to stand. You get to your feet, head reeling. The Archmage looks at you with compassion. It is upsetting to hear, I understand that. Run away, that's an interesting option. I could get outside and cast some... What would counter dim? Would it be kid? Yeah. Create an illusion to dispel the illusion of stupidity. You lie! I am not stating anything, Analand. I am asking you only that you think for yourself. If you cannot, he gestures emptily, I shall draw my sword. This is not going to end well. Enough of this, you growl, sword springing into your hand. The Archmage begins to talk more quickly, evidently afraid. I imagine your king sent you simply to kill me. Your king has the crown, and he knows that we in Mampang Fortress are the only ones capable of countering its power. That's literally not true. I am a powerful sorcerer. I know the crown can be countered, but I don't want to ask him about it. See, now that's the interesting thing, right? If the counter spells can counteract the effects of the crown, why does he want it here? If he has gathered magic and sorcery in this location, then wizards elsewhere might not necessarily know too much about the crown, might not be able to counter it, because they're all here. I don't think he does want to overthrow the King of Analand necessarily. I think he wants to establish his own kingship and then overthrow all rulers of the continent. The king is a good man. The king is a good man, you bleat. I think that was true. I think when he began to use the crown, his intentions were good. But now he looks to the depravity of Khare and the goblins overrunning the Shamutanti Hills, and he feels there must be leadership. Ah, the Archmage sighs. I am sorry, Analand, or whoever you truly are. Your quest has been a lie. The crown is in Analand, and you are nothing but an assassin. If that is so, why did you hire Flanker to come all the way here? Right, now, if Flanker had been hired by the King of Analand... No, I think Flanker is the assassin who was hired by Analand. I will look for guidance from my god, to whom I have not yet prayed. My god is Korga, the god of grace. He is bountiful, generous, and full of great cheer. He does not approve of ill will or evil doing, or I would presume of evil counsel. Does this man tell you the truth? How can you tell? You look upwards, hoping to catch the movement of your graceful god in the corner of your eye, but there is nothing. You are quite alone. We will find you a chamber here in the tower, away from the hustle and bustle below, the Archmage continues. Then, when you are somewhat recovered, you will discover what you want to do. So this, right, is very similar to... This is nothing... Well, in the original book, we'd meet the old man and just be trapped and unable to progress from a room until we would cast the Z spell, go back in time to the beginning of the book, play through it all again, meet him a second time and go, aha, you are the Archmage, I know this now. So this is like the big reset, right? I'm not going to nod, not going to kill him, not going to turn and run, that's probably futile. Enough of this. You step forward, intent on demanding the crown's return. Then you pause. Where did that demand for action come from? What power put the thought of demands into your mind? Surely the Archmage is right. No, he's not. What compelled you to cause so much harm on your journey? You do not move. So at this point, I'm going to question any course of action and probably not take it, because of the trap he is weaving around me. Can't even shout. Escape seems a bit too obvious. Scream had rage, sure. Still no moving. The Archmage watches you. You stand quite still, breathing in and out. A clarity is entering your muddled mind. Perhaps you are beginning to overcome your orders, the elderly figure observes. That is good. One step at a time. I wonder if I'll lose the ability to rewind. You find you are speaking. Yeah, what if he's already wearing the crown? Thank you, Archmage. I have been lost for a long time, and I am far from my home. He nods. I understand. We will offer what hospitality we can. It is most appreciated, you reply, bowing your head. The Archmage gestures to the door, and you take your leave. This is the prison cell where the thing that was probably a Minimite... Oh, hello! Yeah! If I meet the Minimite, break the spells of mind control over me. Haha, say hello to... Outside, night has fallen. Several hours pass in a darkened room. You are lying on cold stone. I've recovered a lot of health, though. Have I lost all my belongings? I do appear to have been relieved. So, while I am a prisoner, I'm not necessarily being treated like one. Tricks and traps. Where am I? You look about yourself. You're on the flagstones of a small cell. A grate high up allows in a little starlight. The heavy door has a single grille snapped shut. The walls are marked with nearly 100 stones. Have you made them yourself? How long have you been here? From nearby you hear a scratching sound. I think it's actually Zan, the Minimite from Book 1. I seem to remember an opportunity to meet him around here. Who's there? You demand. There's no reply from the shadows. The scratching gets closer. I'll move back a bit. Don't need to draw a wet blade just yet. You scramble backwards. A tiny figure approaches on spindly legs. You cannot believe your eyes. It is Jan, the Minimite you encountered outside Bilitanti. Jan! Have they cut off his wings? I think they might have done. The creature stares at you, then rushes forwards and wraps spindly arms around your legs. You again! It chirrups. I can't remember his exact voice, but... Do you have any idea how hard it's been to follow you? I mean, I've got a pretty good idea. There was a lot of magic involved. You followed me? I did my best. I didn't want you to know. I thought you might send me away, or worse. Yeah, I bloody well would have done, but, why? I thought you'd left. We Minimites aren't entirely without magic, Jin replies. I just stayed far enough away that you could cast yours, except once. Yeah, what, in that room there? When? You don't remember? You don't remember? Jan giggles. Well, I'll leave you to remember for yourself, maybe. But I'm sorry, you won't be able to cast anything now, and I can't escape. They've clipped my wings. Jan turns around and shows you the ruins of his back. Deep scars pucker the skin between bony shoulder blades. Wait a minute. Jan is only one Minimite. If I had, like, a load of them, I could... Yeah, well, the Archmage wants for blood and Minimites, but it's like, could I use them like the Immutables in the True Game? Where, Right, so in the True Game, trilogy of novels by Terry S. Shepper, there are a bunch of gamesmen. There's a True Game, the game that is like a high society game. It's a bit like chess, but it's actually played on battlefield. Various members of society are gamesmen. You'll have wizards, kings, princes, bishops, all manner of pieces. And each piece has its own power. And when people come of age and their powers develop, it becomes apparent what kind of gamesmen they're going to be. Pawns have no power, and the Immutables cannot be affected by the power of other gamesmen. And if enough of them show up in one place, it just shuts down the game, and all the gamesmen can't use their powers. Can I use Jan like this? How did you get here? Flew, the creature replies bitterly. I had wings when we met, if you remember. Why did the guards do that to your wings? You ask. To stop me getting away. Can't have Minimites running around freely, not in a place like this. He makes a mild chuckling noise. but now you're stuck as well. I suppose we're back together. So, what's your plan? How do we get out of this? You don't have a key, do you? No, do you? Let me check my pockets, replies Jan sarcastically. Okay, yeah, fine, he doesn't have any pockets. Why did you follow me? No, I'm not going to try cast a spell, that just won't work. You're after the Crown of Kings, aren't you? How were you expecting to get it without a Minimite's aid? Jan shrugs. I thought it was obvious. We've no love of Mampang. I'll look around the cell. You look around the cell, regarding the walls, door, ceiling, and rafters with care. The place seems quite solidly built. The only opening is a tiny air grate, a little larger than your balled fist, set more than twice your height up in the wall. Yeah, but if I pop him out through the grate, through the hole in the bars, he can climb down the other side and do something outside, can't he? And then I'd be able to cast spells again. He could back... I don't think it was right, so... The little creature hops a little closer. If you really have no ideas, Jan remarks, then I suppose we'd best get comfortable. I know a few songs we could sing. Like what? Oh, really? Jan replies sharply. You can't have given up already. I won't allow it. He stamps his tiny little feet on the flagstones below. Okay, look, I'll pick him up. I could pray for aid, but I don't think Korga is the right god for it. If I'd been worshipping a different god, maybe. Not Slang. Was it Tanit? You pick up the Minimite in your hand. He fits neatly into your fist. What are you doing? The creature asks, voice shaking a little with fear. The stumps of his destroyed wings flicker and scrape against your palm. From outside the window, the sounds of chanting and clanking metal drift upwards. The armies are assembling, the Minimite murmurs. Now you've been found, they're leaving for the Baklands. We have to stop them. Of course we do. Of course we do, Jan replies grumpily. How do you suggest we do that? Maybe we could shout for help through the window. The Minimite squirms in your hand. Look. I'll try. Okay, just try. You close your eyes to pray, but there is nothing. No god and no spirit can reach you here. You are quite alone, but I'll look at the grate, which the Minimite can fit through. The grate would be wide enough to toss a ball through. Beyond, you see nothing but the open sky. Jan is watching you and nods almost imperceptibly. Can you not allow me some magic? No, I don't think he can. We will die in here if you do not. The Minimite shakes his head. I'm not eating your magic, I just muddy it. It's part of what I am. After a moment he adds quietly, believe me, I'm sorry too. I'm going to toss him through the grate. Gently, hopefully. Aiming carefully, you toss the Minimite at the grate in the wall. Your aim is true, and the creature disappears from view with a fading scream. That's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to... Hey, I wonder, is this a... Ooh. This is a stupid idea. Worth checking if we had a rewind point here. So yeah, rumour has it there may be a rewind point here. There does not appear to be a rewind point here. So. No, I don't want... I just want to go back. Right. That's bad. I will cast a spell. Or will I? No Z. Zip. Sure. Dop wouldn't work previously because there was a Minimite in here. I'm going to go with Zip. Looking at the constellations above, you craft the spell, and the ring of green metal on your finger begins to glow and glitter. You are suddenly torn through the very air, and hope I land somewhere safe. Also hope the Minimite's okay. You reappear on the other side of the door. Everything is strangely silent. The key to the cell is sticking out of the door. Your assassin's sword is leaning against the cell door. You snatch it up gratefully. I mean, couldn't I have just lowered him through the grate and he could have, like, turned the key in the lock and then jumped down for me? You grab the key. It'll be very useful should you be unfortunate enough to be locked up again. Like they won't take the key off me to lock. What are they going to lock the door with if the key's gone? Then there's only one way to go. Upwards. Right. This ain't going to end well, is it? You hurry up the winding stairs. You approach the door to the library. I'll look out the window. Flanker should be around here. Unless his body has been removed. You look out the window upon a horrifying sight. The courtyard below is filled with soldiers readying for war, and more are already spilling down the road and into the lower city. Amongst their numbers you see mutants, giants, and other foul creatures. They are slaughtering everything in their path without pausing. Flames are climbing from the buildings of the city. The wall to the outer yards is being dismantled. The stairs end abruptly, and a stone archway set with a heavy wooden door. It is the doorway to the library, but the illusory stone wall that was here earlier has now gone. I get to go like this. The library is a mess. The books have fallen from the shelves as though torn down. Yeah, the Archmage is probably leading the army. He's probably not up here. Several pages lie scattered across the floor. Moreover, a large hole has appeared in the tower wall with chunks of stone torn from the fabric of the building. What happened here? I'll look at the books briefly. You look around the books. Most have been tossed from the shelves, but some have scoured as though by deep curved claws, like the ones on the hands of the Archmage. One lies open on the floor, pages fluttering. On the undoing of the done. You know what? I will look at this one. Could be a trap. You lift the book from the floor and turn through the pages. It is a book about righting wrongs, fixing mistakes, also about the countering and undoing of one spell by means of another. One page claims the spell of the shield is negated by that of the sword. I don't think I have the ingredients for either at the moment. The Wok and Raz counterspell has been recorded in your spellbook. But before you can read more, something swoops in through the hole in the tower wall. It is nothing short of a demon. Short, goat-like, but with a hellish gaze, and on its head rests something you did not think you would ever now see, the crown of kings. "Who are you?" you demand. "Who do you think?" the creature responds. "The Archmage traded half his soul for a life long enough to kill you with. I am the long-lived half he traded with." A pair of wings grace its back for a moment, then disappear. "I see you have escaped," the demon remarks. "Unfortunately, it is too late. My transformation is complete. The entire old world will feed my hunger." Pray for aid? I could hear him out. See what... This dead body isn't here in the description of the room. This illustration... So this is slightly different in the original book. Got it. Okay. Ooh. There have been numerous warnings in the comments section, about at least 2 or 3 times, from the great sorcerer Pendel, that should I face some kind of goat-like demon, I should not put up much resistance, for being destroyed by it will grant me something, as I don't have to be destroyed by it to continue, and any item I attempt to use against it will be lost and destroyed and of no further use to me. That definitely goes for a sword. I'll wait, actually. You wait for the creature to approach. There is nothing else you can do. It clatters forwards, taking you in its spindly arms in an embrace of stinging mucus and nettle-like fur, and then it pierces your neck with its spear-tipped tongue. That can't be good. "Eaten by the Archmage goat." But even now, here, crushed between the teeth of what the Archmage has become, all is not lost. You feel the curse of Froben tearing you upwards and into the stars. Oh shit, again? Do I really need this? Obviously it's Z spell time, right? Wait. Do I know a counter for Z yet? And why are these other spells available? And why is Z unknown? Okay. No L. The L's just there. Are all of these... Yeah, these are... Is it just like, no mate, Z spell or nothing, man? So be it. The spell tears you apart and tosses you out among the stars. It's going to take me back down here, isn't it? Oomph. Yeah. Oh, I totally understand now. I will explain. Once more, the explosion dies back as though receding. You look around yourself once more. You have lost another point of maximum stamina. You turn your cloak up and move quickly away. You check your pocket quickly. The key to the Minimite cell is still there. A road runs past you, east to west. So what I do now, I go through here. I possibly make one attempt to find the secret treasure vault, which is probably below this building here. I go up through here, maybe talk to the dwarf ogre thing, speak to the birdmen, ask them to carry me across to here. They drop me off. I go through the Froben doors. I go up the tower. I go to the cell with the Minimite. I use the key to unlock the cell and take him with me to the top of the tower to speak to the Archmage, where I will be protected from his sorcery. But that, I feel, will have to wait for the very next episode. So this is akin to the original using the Z spell to go back to the beginning of the book. Trick from the original book 4. Excellent! It appears we have come full circle. Well, I'm going to leave this episode here. And I'm looking forward to recording the next one, even if it will be retreading a lot of familiar ground. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I do look forward to seeing you all in the very next one. I'm going to say goodbye for now, though. And I hope Korga isn't pissed off at me for accidentally killing Jan when I didn't mean to. He seems to be okay. So I'll see you all next time, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye for now.